All right, welcome back to another session for this CSC 201, and our aim is to solve this problem. This minus b plus or minus. This is quadratic equation. So of course, how you write it manually is minus x equals to minus b plus or minus. But in programming notations, you have to separate the two. Then you give it x1, x2. So you can have your roots as it is like that. So the first thing we need to understand is that we need to define all our variables as double because it might likely going to have a decimal point. Okay, it has to be double, and then we have to use a scanner class to collect variables. So with this now we say we're going to create another class. We call it quadratic, right? Quadratic what? Quadratic equation. Maybe you call it solver, or let's see quadratic equation solution. Then we need main. Okay, you say what is the problem in the spelling? Oh, thank you. Quadratic, is it correct? Yeah. Now you finish, and then you have your quadratic equation here. As a class, end of the what? Main method. These are very simple things. Maybe by next week, we start writing some interesting programs. So can you recall that we talk about class variable, local variable, whatever? We have tested local variable. So let's see if we can test. Let us use a class variable. It's the one that will give us easier way of implementations here. Of course, we can use local variable, but let's define our variables from here. First thing is we need a, b, c, and then we need x1 and x2. Is it? So let's say we have static double a, comma b, comma c, comma x1 and what? x2. This is the same thing as saying static double a. Okay, then you do same static double b, static double c till. So this is like a shorthand for you, but you cannot declare two variables with same name. That's why it is giving you this. And then please, there's something I forgot to discuss in the class. You see here we started with static. We didn't mention either public or private, is it? So whenever you declare a variable without mentioning public, private, protected, it is by default what? Public. It is public by default. As it is now, it is public. All objects, methods of the class within and outside within the what do you call it? The package or project are going to visible. This is visible to it. They are going to view it and access it rather. So in here, this we have done our definition here. But then, we've done declaration. This tells you that we declare it as static. Then we can now use it within our static method. Is it? So then we can use A, B, C, wherever. So let me also introduce static for of course, we are going to use scanner class. So let's say static SC. Okay, scanner class, right? Static scanner SCA. Please, let's do this so we have a very good representation of our work. SCA. Okay, let me just define we can define it completely here, so we can just make use of it there. Or let's just define it here, and then we initialize in our main method. You can do it either ways. This is just declaration. If you want to do everything here, you can do it. You can say new equals to new what? Scanner. Is it? Equals to new scanner class. Of course, you see an error message. It's telling you about the importation of what? Scanner. So you have to import java.util.scanner. Please, are we there? When you double click, right. So within here, we need to introduce what will collect the parameter for the scanner class, which is what? System.in. So all error messages have gone. We have successfully declared our scanner class, and just for what? For just a variable. Please, do you understand how we come about this? If you have a question, please you ask. I'm declaring for B. Do you have a question? I'm doing for C. Yes? Without static, yes. You know, I'm trying to implement the topic we have just discussed in the theory class. We talk about class variable, instance variable, local variable, and final. You see? So if you want to make it local, you remove this static and bring everything in here. This is what I'm saying. If you bring this here, it will run. But you remove this, and then I have already declared something. You see, there are two different variables. Otherwise, it will have given us error. This local variable is different from this static variable, which is the class variable. You can do it this way, but you have to work with it just within the method at which it is being declared. Do you understand? Okay. So, yes? Please, I didn't get what. Are we going to this? What? ABC? Yes, it will work if you want. If you don't want it this way, you can say static double A. Terminate the statement static double B. So I'm removing this now. Let's continue. Single line how? No, if you want to use only one scanner object, then you won't call it scanner A. You can remove all these ones and use only scanner object. You can just say maybe input. So you can collect it for A, you collect for B, you collect for C, but you have to be careful while writing such programs. I understand what you mean. Yes. This, we are writing for beginners. Of course, if I'm to write, if it is a production environment, I'm not going to do this. It will take too much space. But we need to write for everybody. We have to carry all along. So please, let's quickly finish it. We don't have much time. So we've already done that. Then if I want to collect for A, okay, SCA, I have to show to the user that please user enter what? Please enter what? Enter value for what? For A, okay, and then full colon. So this get displayed for the user, okay, and then after that, then we collect the input from user, and then we store somewhere, okay. So for us to collect the input from user, we need to introduce another local variable here, which we say maybe it's going to be double, right? We say double my A, for example. My A equals to, this is the object for the scanner class. Then you say dot next what? Dot next to the next type. what we wanted collecting from user is double. So you say dot next double. If it is int, dot next int. If it is byte, dot next byte. If it is string, dot next line. So you collect the whole line of the string. You understand? Then dot next double. Okay. So this is what collects what user enters and put in here, and then we do same for the next variable, which is what, b, and user enters what. Okay, let me just say double my what, my b equals scb dot next what, dot next double. Okay, you know, scanner class will not allow your program to continue executing until when you enter value. Okay, so for the next one, you collect for who or for what? You collect input for C. Okay, immediately after this, we're going to close this session, and then this is C, my C, for example, and you collecting for who? For C. So we're going to make use of all this to formulate the formula, and the formula is what? X1 equals, you know, we just stated that X1 is double. Can you recall this? X1, I think I use capital here, right? Okay, so X1 equals, what is X1? X1 is the formula, right? So we will now say minus what? B. So what is B here? My B, right? You can name it anything. My B, plus or minus, you can give it B, just B as it is. So you don't have problem. You can just say B like this. Okay, you can just say C here. Let's make it that way. Here A, right? So we don't confuse ourselves, right? B, plus or minus, right? Let's go with 1 plus. So we'll do that of minus later at x2. Plus square root. Square root you call math class. Math dot sqrt. We said it right in the theory class. Sqrt of what? I think this is what we are solving, right? Sqrt of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So b squared. Inside the sqrt, we need to call another math function that says what? What? Square root, right? Square root of, yes, power of what? B, thank you. Then 2. Square root of 2 minus 4ac, right? Minus 4 times, don't say 4ac, it won't. 4, there is multiplication time, you know, 4a and then what? 4ac. You see how I'm doing it? So all of them, right from minus b to the last over 2a, right? Is it? Is it not? So now let me do something like this. Introduce a bracket so you don't have problems, okay? Then you divide this last bracket by what? 2 times a, and then you terminate. So you see what we've done, okay? So now for x2, you don't need to waste much time here. For x2, the only difference between x1 and x2 is just plus and minus, is it? So you can copy this Of course, encoding copy and paste is not appropriate, but this is not something very huge. Minus, right? You say divided by 2a. We've done that. So then we need to print out our answers. Okay. So you now say sys out what x1 equals. So somebody, I don't know, I can't recall the name of that person. You see this, I'm telling the user that value you are going to see is what? Is x1. I think you are the one who asked the question, right? Then plus, then this very variable, this x1. So it displays this for the user. Then if you want it in another line, you print out for x2. But if you want to separate it with comma, you just say, I think that's how we do it in quadratic, right? You write the two in, you separate them with comma, right? This and that. So you now say comma. For you to introduce comma, you have to concatenate as well. And then space, then comma. And then you write for x2. Concatenate again, plus in quote x2 equals plus what? Then x2 as a variable. So we're done. Then we run the program. After running the program, please give me the data set, correct data set for x is equals to 1, a equals to 1, b equals to 1. Are you sure? C normally comes with negative. Okay, it has worked. Do you have the answers? What are the answers? Minus 1.0, minus 1.0. It's correct, right? Good. You always try to verify the answers you've gotten after executing the program. Program always execute correctly, only if maybe you had made a mistake. Okay, if you see something that goes wrong, actually, it's most likely you've done a mistake. So verify always your answers. Okay, so if you have another test data, you can run it and it gives you correct answers. You have to be very careful while writing, the mass functions and the brackets and all that. You need to be careful while writing these things. I think it's something you can just review. Please execute the cycle methods as we said. Next time we shall come up with other realistic examples like this that you can compare with what you have and what the calculation does if it is done in a manual way. Programming, you cannot really become expert if you are not practicing. So you need to be practicing really. As you can see, these are static variables and we're able to use them here. You can also create another method, you can use them and it runs correctly. So without wasting much time here, we're going to stop here. And we urge you to really put your hands on labs so you can understand what is going on. Okay.